Welcome to NFL Daily, where we love a penultimate NFL holiday week. Just love the word penultimate. I'm Gregg Rosenthal here in the Chris Wesleyan podcast studio with my regular preview buddies, Jourdan Rodrigue and Patrick Claybon. It's not the end of the road, but it's pretty damn close.
Yes. It's like you said, the penultimate, which, the penultimate step and a jump. All these things are very important. And so, people question it.
Thinking of all the pens I've stolen from Greg over the years.
Where is the one that you stole on Saturday?
Mind your business.
I mean, that pen came all the way from Narita Airport in Tokyo, Japan, to bring it back just so you could steal it.
Just so I could chew
on it. Disgusting. You know what's not disgusting?
What's that, Greg?
My attitude about this Week 17 slate. For a minute, I did a little complaining at the end of the recap show of so much is decided. It's true that the in the hunt graphic is more decided than normal. And with the Colts losing on Monday night, that clinched a playoff spot for three more teams in the AFC, the Jags, the Bills, and who am I forgetting here? Come on, Chargers. And that's one thing. But then again, we have a lot of matchups in the final 2 weeks of two playoff teams going against each other. So it's essentially like a playoff preview, good on good, and I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah, and let's start with a couple of those playoff contenders in the AFC, the Houston Texans on the road Saturday on NFL Network, where we care about each other and football. Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner there. The Chargers are favored by 2.5, Gregg Rosenthal. Over-under is 39.5. Chargers get this one at home?
Man, I got to make a pick in this game.
Yeah, you do.
I think I'll probably take the Chargers, and I won't feel good about it. They just got something a little extra. Both these teams do. The Chargers, and I should have mentioned, we're putting ourselves on a clock here because we like to honk on this show.
You pointed right at me.
No, we like to honk, and we're not doing the thing where we're splitting up the games. It's a holiday week. It's all in one show. Enough about that. 7 out of 8 for the Chargers, 6 straight for the Texans. And the obvious solution that Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh have to come up with is, how can we possibly get Justin Herbert enough time against this pass rush? And the answer would be, well, they've been doing it all year to some degree, and that maybe they're catching the Texans defense at the right time. I hesitate to make too much of a trend, but the last 2 weeks against the Cardinals and the Raiders, they've been more good than great or okay than great. And even the pass rush has just been a little bit down, but maybe they're also just a team that gets up for big games. They seem like one of those types of teams.
This was forewarned.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, because of the top 7 defenses in the NFL, the Houston Texans actually were the one of those groups that were most susceptible to the explosive play at that time. And when you go deeper into a season and a defense that my favorite defense in the NFL, an absolute joy to watch in every single phase, does have a little bit of that creeping in, especially near the end of the season. It's tighten up time for the Houston Texans, but they are like a little bit susceptible, which I can never say the first time correctly, to the explosive play. The Chargers are able to do this in the passing game as long as Justin Herbert can actually throw the football.
And that's the caveat. That's the tough caveat where the Chargers offense hasn't necessarily looked great, and then they get a chance to go up against a generationally porous Dallas Cowboys defense, truly at this point, where you've seen the Chargers get locked up over and over again, and then you got Ladd running down the field by himself. BTJ is making one-hand catches. The quarterback is having to play with his one hand. He's stiff-arming people still with the broken hand. Stop doing that. But then he, oddly enough, has people he'll stiff-arm somebody with the broken hand, and then when somebody goes to help him up with that hand, he's like, no, don't be crazy. Don't help me up with this hand. It's broken.
My hand!
But still, to go through what they've been through at front and going up against this defense, I know it's been a couple bad weeks. I don't necessarily believe in Trap.
It's not even that bad.
I don't even think, it's the Raiders. They got done up by the Raiders in Week 16. Oh, well. They still won the game.
Yeah.
So I'm going Texans here.
I'm really curious because
we picking games.
This is, if you want, you don't have to.
It's
we do it on Game Day View. Everyone,
big week for that.
Check us out. Yeah, Patrick Claybon winning the Game Day View picks on NFL Network.
Thanks, Greg.
I like it when it's good on good sometime, and we'll have that matchup in terms of sides of the ball when we talk Eagles Bills a little later. But this is kind of the good on bad on both sides.
Yeah.
So it's the weakness of the Chargers, their offense, although they do have the skill position players to maybe make those big plays. And then it's the bad side of Houston, which took a step back last week, which is their offense. Even when they're improving against Jesse Minter, who has been mixing up his coverages, mixing up a little more pressure a little bit since the bye week. And CJ Stroud, he just, like, when he's not on, he's really not on. And I could see them clouding the picture for him. I should have mentioned, we're putting a 5-minute clock on. That means there's only 1 minute left.
Oh, no, whatever will I do? No, Jesse Minter's got 3 good pass rushers, and even on weeks where Khalil Mack's just a little bit quieter, Odafe Owe and Tui Tuipulotu are absolutely mauling people. They are in these really interesting, creative rush packages where they could both rush from multiple angles and multiple spots along the alignment, and week over week, either those 3 or 2 of the 3 are among the top in pressures in the NFL, and it's bringing everything that Jesse Minter wants to do to life in the back end, as well as these young receivers, plus Nico Collins are playing this year and certainly right now for the Texans. I do worry about them, especially when CJ Stroud has been a little bit up and down.
These are the 2 AFC teams that are making the playoffs. I'd maybe throw the Patriots. I'm just like not totally sure how good, what they are. And so this will go a long way towards proving that. Injuries to keep an eye on: Jamari Sawyer, the left tackle for the Chargers; Dante Jackson, the cornerback for the Chargers; Azeez Al-Shaair. He made his first Pro Bowl on Tuesday, but we don't know if he's going to be available for this game. So a lot of intrigue there. And then we got this from the research department.
Okay.
This is interesting.
We've got a little bonus stuff.
This is more stupid than interesting. But
That's where I
cool.
index, Greg.
CJ Stroud has won 4 straight starts for the first time in his NFL career when he's
Good
at quarterback.
for him.
Yeah, they won with Davis Mills, of course, a few times. Each time
Never.
CJ Stroud had a win streak of at least 4 games in college, it was snapped by one coach. Who was that coach?
Harbaugh.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Hey, that's not dumb. That's a great little nugget right there.
Okay, it's a great nugget. I don't know if it's going to have an impact on this game, but it's a great nugget.
Well, everything that's ever happened before has to happen again.
Absolutely.
That's just
Because
how the world works.
Famously, everything was on the up and up in Ann Arbor during Jim Harbaugh's tenure. Let's go to our next game. Jacksonville favored by 6.5 points after going up there and dominating in Denver at the Indianapolis Colts, expecting perhaps Riley Leonard gets a start here, 47.5. Joe Davis and G-Reg on the call. And Jourdan, I mean, G-Reg's going to give the audience a lot of insight into what makes this Jags offense so much fun to watch.
Well, I can't wait. And thank God someone is finally going to be talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Am I right, guys? I mean, after this entire season, I've heard nothing, including from my left and my right directly, about the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, I love this team. They went from being Greg and I's messy fun team pick of the year to just flat out fun. Trevor Lawrence is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I put this on Blue Sky earlier this week where I'm like, hey, Trevor Lawrence, the playoffs await. But first, Quarterback Island is coming. And I think he's got more than a fair case for our last episode.
He is helping to define the position, yes.
Yes. And I do think, too, I watch this defense is great in Jacksonville as well. It's well coached. They attack the ball. They're up there among the lead leaders week over week in takeaways as well. Special teams, they have an edge over a lot of the teams that they play. And I do think that they have more edges in every phase of football than the Colts do right now, despite the fact that when I watched Riley Leonard, I watched the game a couple weeks ago.
It will be Phillip Rivers starting this game.
It is. Okay, so we know that. All right. Well, I still think that the Jaguars have the edge, and I do think that it's going to be fun. I hope they amp up the mics again like they did in the broadcast this week so you can hear all of Phillip Rivers' audibles, and that for Indianapolis is the thing I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, Shane Steichen revealed it just a few minutes before we started taping here that it will be Phillip Rivers. They were not eliminated on Sunday, and on Monday night. And the route to the playoffs is pretty simple. They need the Texans to lose out, and they need to win out. And they have to get a strength of victory tiebreaker, which is about 50-50 right now, and a lot more results based on who they've beaten and would play into that. It's way too complicated, and frankly, it shouldn't matter because the Jaguars are heavily favored in this game for a reason, and they would eliminate the Colts and put the Texans in the playoffs. It's an interesting spot for Texans fans watching because if I'm them, I'm still rooting for the Colts to win this game. Obviously, they'll know the result on Saturday before it happens, and that plays into it. But if you're the Texans, you want to go ahead and win the division. That's more important to me than getting your playoff spot clinched a week early. I just think last night, as we're taping on Tuesday, we're doing everything a little early this week. Chris Ballard's vision of what this defense should be, all the picks they put into their defensive line, it just came out like total nonsense in the biggest of spots, and they're supposed to be a big run game team. The run game wasn't there. For Phillip Rivers in the passing game to be the very last reason why they couldn't compete in a must-win type of game, speaks to bigger problems that they're going to look at in the offseason, certainly, but that I think the Jaguars, the way they're playing right now and the way Trevor's playing right now, can expose in terms of their defense.
Yeah, where you saw some splash plays on Monday Night Football where that's really it. Like the sustained, continued success, especially without the pass rush. I mean, both teams on Monday night definitely didn't necessarily bother having a pass rush, but even more so for the Indianapolis Colts, where still, because I have seen some honking from Bengals fans, coming back and hey, this is where Coach Lou's defense is, but at a certain point, the personnel an issue in both spots.
I think he is boomer bust. I'll buy that argument that he is a game plan type of coach. And yes, the personnel isn't there. Charvarius Ward literally isn't there. Sauce Gardner isn't there. They had Buckner back. But I think sometimes he has so many designer game plans week to week that sometimes they crap out and it looks really bad.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, and I think he
Yeah.
puts too much on linebackers that are not necessarily complete players either. I know they love those guys in the building, but that's a position that they really have to be looking at.
And the Jaguars are set up to take advantage with Brenton Strange and Parker Washington. Parker Washington, no longer just a little cute story, leads the team in receiving now. And edged ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. after that game. This is a crazy stat I saw from Dan Orlovsky that I can't believe. Trevor Lawrence in the last 3 weeks on third down has a 99.9 QBR, which is it's out of 100, and averaging 15 yards per attempt. You never see that.
Out of 100.
Like 75, 80 or 75 will sometimes lead the league for the year. That's him on third downs last 3 weeks. And the thing I noticed watching him, he gets through his reads so much faster, and the Colts will give you time to get you through your reads.
Yeah, and I think too, manufacturing explosive against the Colts, Phillip Rivers did it in a very different way. He did it by moving the formation and changing different things around pre-snap. They can do it with Trevor Lawrence on the move.
It's going to be harder, I think, for Phillip Rivers to repeat that performance against this Jaguars defense after what the Colts put on tape last week, unfortunately.
But fun watching both offenses this one because it's my guys. It's Alec Pierce on one side, and then Parker Washington on the other. It's the Patrick Receiver Bowl.
I have bad news for everyone that keeps making these tweets about, I want Alec Pierce or this, Alec Pierce is going to make so much money in free agency. They're going to franchise tag him. They will pay Alec Pierce $28 million at the very least, I think, to just keep him in the building. That's how good he has been.
Depends on who the GM is.
So that's a lot of money, and maybe he does get his long-term extension, but I think it'll be with the Colts.
If they would like to keep him in the building, they could provide him with a contract that's longer than that.
I think they will.
And not utilize the league's cost control metric to avoid paying players what they actually deserve. Baltimore at Green Bay, who are favored by 2.5 points. The over-under is 40.5. It's the baby bird, Noah Eagle, and Todd Blackledge going to call this game on Peacock Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, part of a Saturday doubleheader. A lot going on in Baltimore, Greg.
Oh my God.
Not a lot of it great. Green Bay's dealing with a ton of injuries, as we discussed, and a heartbreaking loss last week. How do you see this one?
Well, the injuries are where you have to start because we don't know who's starting at quarterback for either team. Jordan Love was limited in practice on Tuesday. He's in the concussion protocol. If you're going to get out of the concussion protocol in 1 week, that's how you do it. So he has a chance to start this game. It'll make it tough for the Ravens to prepare. They'll have to be ready for Malik Willis. You even wonder if Jordan Love played, would they even integrate Malik Willis into the running game? I don't think that's a crazy option against this Ravens team. Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh, John Harbaugh said on Monday that he has, a bad bone bruise in his back, but Lamar Jackson did say, he wants to play, and it sounded somewhat optimistic about playing this week, but we just don't know at this point who will play. If they do play Lamar Jackson, how much of a chance do you give the Ravens in this game, Jourdan?
Well, the Packers are in inappropriate body part up or shut up time at this point in terms of their basically standing on business. Like you actually have to be this group that you look like you're going to be and that you say you're going to be all season. And if it's Lamar, who better than to try to do that against? I know that the Ravens need every ounce of Lamar magic that they can get, that they can possibly squeeze some life still out of this season. But it sounded like some of the reports coming out of that locker room was players were saying he could barely walk. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, John Harbaugh, at what point do you protect the player from himself? This is your franchise quarterback. I know he will want to play no matter what, but if he could barely walk after a game, after a back contusion.
Yeah. To be honest, it reminds me a lot of earlier this season where, the hope, obviously, you would prefer Lamar play football, especially a primetime game, a Saturday doubleheader. But if Lamar could play in this game in a relatively short week, then he probably would have been able to come back in the game in the first place.
Well, isn't that so reminiscent of so many moments during the John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson era
but
where
some
they
of that's
are not
illness. Some of that's illness or soft tissue. This is his back.
right. I just mean that where they're not on the same page publicly about when Lamar Jackson is going to be back on the field. It's happened multiple times. And if this ends up being it, and yes, this is an elimination game for the Baltimore Ravens. They lose this game, they are going to have to, watch the Steelers play on Sunday with a chance to eliminate them from the playoffs. John Harbaugh was asked about his job security this week.
Thanks for asking that question, Bo. Well, first of all, that's good. It's a great question. I mean, it's a sport. It's just how it works, And my focus is on always, and has been for the last 18 years here and the last 41 years in coaching, or is it 42? It's up there. It's been to try to do the best job I can today and fight as hard as I can so the guys can have the best chance to be successful today. And anything after today, I'm not thinking about because, it's not given for us to think about. We don't have control over that except for the job we do today. If we do a good enough job today, then the opportunity to do that job or a different job will be there tomorrow. And that's what you hope for.
And to clarify, the Steelers win the division if the Ravens lose. The magic number is 1. The season is over if the Ravens don't win this game.
Hear me out. New York Giants head coach John Harbaugh.
Yeah, he'll have
Hear me out.
He'll have his opportunities.
Who's the funniest Bo that could have asked that question? My guess is Bo Nix.
My high school basketball teammate who famously ran for Congress on a platform that would have actually probably been pretty successful today. Bo McKinney.
I'm not even going to say his last name, but a Bo that I knew in college that eventually was running a casino in Malaysia, and we heard got in trouble with
oh boy,
kind of underground figures there. Interesting guy.
Bo, if you're listening.
Yeah. The Packers, if they win, also would clinch their spot. They would already have made it if the Lions lose on Christmas. We hit that in the previous show. It was one of Derrick Henry's best games, so you want to see if you can keep the running game going. In terms
or keep him on the field.
Yes.
Keep the ball in your hands.
That was a tough situation.
And
Harbaugh said he regretted that decision, taking him off the field. And he kept saying
does he acknowledge it was his decision?
Yeah.
Because that seems like a different conversation than was had previously.
Exactly. And he said it was a rotation that we decided on. I mean, I don't believe that. Derrick Henry's almost never on the field in those hurry-up situations, so that part's not new. They don't think he's as good as the other players in a hurry-up passing situation. I'm just saying it's hardly been the first time that he's not on the field late in games.
Last quick point, and I was looking this up when you were asking me about Lamar, Greg. Sorry about that. But Jordan Love has to fully participate in a practice and then be cleared after participating in that practice. So far, he has been a limited participant in practice. Just outlining the steps of the protocol because I think a lot of people forget what they are.
Yeah, and Jeff Hafley, if you're going to try to get coaching interviews, thought he did great last week. The Packers are coming off two of the toughest losses I think any teams have had all season long. I mean, that was a brutal, emotional loss, but they were that team that you were talking about last week.
Yeah.
They played
With
really well on
Willis.
both sides.
All right, so those Baltimore Ravens fans, if they get a win, all eyes will be on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, where the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday are 3.5-point favorites on the road at the Cleveland Browns, who almost squeaked out a win against the Buffalo Bills last week, 33.5. It's a very low number where, Jourdan, can Cleveland do this for the people that would like for this to happen?
I've never seen you so emotional watching a football game
I was just gonna say.
watching Steelers-Lions last weekend in the newsroom. You were dying. More even than you would with a Ravens game, but you just needed the Lions to help you out a little. And then this situation wouldn't be so dire for Baltimore.
It doubly so, because 2 weeks in a row, the Steelers have come out in the second half and just road graded the opponent to an extent that's like, oh, the Steelers are actually
It was like demoralizing. Like, oh,
They are
God.
playing their best
They
right
are
now.
playing their best football right now, on both sides of the ball. And I guess the universal balance has to swing some way, because we never see Chris Boswell miss a kick. So something has to go wrong, right? Just in terms of the balance of life in the NFL. But yeah, they're insane. They're very, very productive on offense, running the ball well. Aaron Rodgers is playing good football. They're getting explosive plays, which they really struggled with early in the season. You know, I knew it was bad, or good if you're a Steelers fan, but I knew it was bad when I walk in from filling up my water bottle, and Patrick is at his desk standing in the most wide leg, like father at the kids' soccer game power stance with the arms crossed I've ever seen in my life. It was a masterpiece.
Well, yeah, it can all be about me. But I'm sure, obviously, it was frustrating for Lions fans. But for perhaps those Steelers fans who were there chanting "Fire Tomlin" to see this team make second half adjustment after second half adjustment, and it's like, wow, maybe that was a mistake, or maybe those people aren't capable of introspection in the first place.
We'll see if they get healthier. So I think Derek Harmon was a huge return to the lineup for them last week in terms of stopping the run against the Lions. And the on-off splits for Derek Harmon this year are fantastic for Harmon in terms of helping the run defense. We don't know when TJ Watt could return. We don't know if Nick Herbert could return. But on offense, as good of a player as DK Metcalf is, and Ollie Connolly pointed out, we hit the news that DK Metcalf was suspended on our previous show. He pointed out, look, Cleveland plays a ton of man coverage, and DK is their best man beater. It's a total fair point. I do think the way to beat this Browns defense is on the ground. And I don't think you have to tell Arthur Smith twice to run an offense through Kenny Gainwell and Darnell Washington. I think he's going to absolutely love doing that. Sprinkle in a little Jaylen Warren at the end, ripping off 45-yard gains for his fantasy teams.
Schematically, I understand DK Metcalf is their best matchup player for this particular matchup, but he's not the reason they've been getting explosive plays. He's only been targeted on passes of 10-plus air yards at like a 30% rate per next gen, lowest of the season. You know, obviously this just you guys covered the news already, but what a wiener of a situation that like I can't even get into it because I'm just gonna get mad. But DK, hang in there, buddy.
He'll be back for the playoffs maybe sooner, and maybe this will be out of date if the appeal wins. The thing is, their offense has been different with DK, and in general the last 3 weeks, the average air yards per attempt are up like a lot. The third and longs that they hit against Detroit were up a lot. And Aaron Rodgers is holding on to the ball longer. Not long, but longer. It is a different offense, really, the last 3 weeks. And you give him some credit for adjusting. On the other side, Shedeur Sanders has gone, because of Stefanski, I think, like Aaron Rodgers to the extreme. Until that last 3rd and 32 shot last week, he was averaging under 1 yard per attempt. I mean, that was a schemed-up masterpiece by Kevin Stefanski in a way, but also Shedeur Sanders did nothing in that game. Like, it was crazy to watch back.
We're on record watch for Myles Garrett.
Yes.
I believe he's 1 sack away at this point.
And
right?
going up against the moral successor to Brett Favre, just in a lot of capacities, perhaps Aaron Rodgers could donate a little history to Myles Garrett and then go out the rest of the game.
I really hope not, because that was the most annoying subplot of the Michael Strahan situation from years ago. But you could see a situation if the Steelers are winning big. Aaron Rodgers feels like he would do that. He does not want to get hit, but he just like sees Myles Garrett coming and just
to get his name somewhere else.
Just gets on the ground.
Yeah, just an opportunity to answer some more questions.
The thing about Aaron Rodgers is when you get pressure on him, he gets sacked. I know he doesn't want to get hit, but he has gotten hit quite a bit. He either gets rid of the ball or he kind of just turtles up. And so I think Myles Garrett does it. Let's go. I need that Andrew Siciliano call.
Also, you mentioned, I tried not to laugh when you mentioned he is holding the ball a little bit longer and sort of manufacturing some of these explosive plays. Everyone looks like they're holding on to the ball longer when you're watching Phillip Rivers play football the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I love watching it, and they're still getting it done. I hate to do it, but you do have to give A-Rod a little bit.
Yeah, and we joked last week when he frustratedly looked over at Arthur Smith throwing it short, and we're like, "Oh, Aaron's not happy." After that, they were going down.
Pew, pew, pew. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side and look at some of the teams at the top of the NFC.
There it is.
That's right.
Guitar.
If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it's Christmas Eve. But maybe it's Christmas. This preview show is going to age like fine wine. It's going to
Jingle Bell Rock Your
all
World.
week. You can return to it at any time of the week. So hopefully you've opened up some beautiful presents before settling in for a meaningful Carolina Panthers Week 17 game.
Do you know what it is for me, guys?
What's that?
It's your presents.
Hey.
Is a present.
That is my gift.
I don't know. Our presents must not be good right now because you asked us if we were okay during the break.
Which is like, we're good.
Sometimes I like to check on you.
I think it's maybe projection. I don't know. Like what? That is
Me?
the number
Never.
one. The
No
number
way.
one reason
Anxiety in my head? What?
to make
No way.
sure the people are not okay around you is to suddenly ask if they're okay.
Well, it can be a stressful time.
It's never once worked. Never once
I'm
worked.
getting the shoulders again.
Football is family. We get a couple of family-related football guys after Baby Bird calls the game on Saturday. It's Big Bird calling the game with TJ's brother, JJ Watt. It is the Seattle Seahawks on the road at the Carolina Panthers. Huge game in the NFC South for back-to-back weeks for the Carolina Panthers. Gregg Rosenthal. They've already beaten the Los Angeles Rams. They're at Bank of America Stadium. Do they do that this week against Sam and company?
I don't think so. The Seahawks have a little extra rest. Hey, at this time of year, you need everything you can get. The Seahawks, if they are the team that we think they are, they win this game. And maybe they don't cover the 7.5. That's a big number. But if they're the team we think they are, they do. And it is crazy to look at some of the historical efficiency numbers, for instance. DVOA has the Rams and the Seahawks as the 5th and 6th best teams through 16 weeks that they've measured since 1978.
Wow.
In which you wouldn't think that because they have the 3 losses and the 4 losses. But I do get it because it's pretty rare to see teams this balanced, this explosive on offense in the case of the Rams, but certainly explosive for the Seahawks, and then dominant on the other side of the ball. Whereas, the Panthers, they have their issues. It's a weird game in terms of stakes because the Panthers would need the Bucs to lose to the Dolphins and to win this game to clinch the NFC South. So the odds are this game for the Panthers doesn't really matter that much in terms of playoff seeding, whether they win or lose. But obviously, they're not approaching it that way.
But for morale.
Yes. And just for they're playing a sport to win the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, who can ever forget? And Patrick, I know you remember a lot of these. The storied, developed rivalry between those years that the Seahawks and the Panthers played once a year for year after year after year during the Cam Newton era. And the fan bases were always at each other, and the Panthers just haven't been good in forever. And now they are feisty, right? They are feisty, and they know that even if this doesn't necessarily affect in a significant way the playoff seeding specifically, this is a team that is on a roll right now. Bryce Young is playing some of the best football, certainly of his career, and has made, especially when he's using his legs, which he's gonna have to against this Seahawks defense. He's made some plays out of structure, scramble drill plays, really starting to click with his receivers, who I still need to see a complete game from across the board. But where I really think this is a sneaky, interesting matchup is Gray Zabel's a really good player, right? He's a really promising offensive lineman. He's playing guard. He's awesome, right? We like Gray Zabel. Kind of struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks. And Derek Brown, who's having one of the most underrated seasons of any defensive player in the NFL this year, is on the other side and has made multiple game-wrecking plays against opponents of this quality. He did it against the Bucs. He did it against the Rams. That is a danger zone to circle on your play sheet.
And Ashiro Everos called great games against this division this season, where you go back to that Monday night game. Yeah, it's like,
Get me
back in there. But I think about that game against the 49ers where J.C. Horn, as well as Mike Jackson, made those great plays on the ball, kind of confusing the look for Brock Purdy, and a chance to do that up against we just saw a really good pass rush go up against Sam Darnold, and the Seahawks seemingly scored unlimited points in the second half of that game, where I have had some concerns as of late for the Carolina Panthers defense, but you brought it up, and looking back at it, there's a story here. It was that early in the season in 2015, where people were wondering, is this Panthers thing real? And Cam was up there against the Legion of Boom. They came from behind in the fourth quarter.
Snatch the flag.
Now maybe Bryce does it at home, Greg.
That would be next level. We've had so many moments where you just believe in the Panthers a little more. And that would be going to like a completely different level and change how the NFC looks. It hasn't been a good Seattle offensive line of late overall, like run blocking, pass blocking, but it's weakness on weakness. I mean, the Panthers are literally dead last in the league in pressure rate.
Yeah.
They're the worst pressure team in the league. But I thought they cooked up, to your point, Evero, some good timely blitzes last week. To me, it's all about Bryce like going down the field. Like he needs to hit vertical shots. Josh Norris pointed out since week 10, he is right near or at the top of the league in completion percentage on throws over 20 yards on big time foe weight. Like he is a walking game-winning drive the last couple seasons. If you get him the ball late in the game, he finds a way to win it.
They're calling him Carolina Reaper down there locally. I hope it sticks. That's kind of badass.
The run game for the Seahawks, you'd like to see it get better a little bit. I wonder if maybe the Panthers' run game turned around a little bit last week, was like a 50% success rate, which was an improvement after really struggling. They're going to need it, I think, to compete with the Seahawks.
The thing about the Panthers is I picked the Seahawks 9 times out of 10. That one time you catch them on the wrong week, the Panthers have been that team. You catch them on that 1 week, and they will make you pay for it.
Well, it's going to be back-to-back games for the for the Carolina Panthers in a revenge against the Matt Rule era, where it didn't work out for Baker Mayfield. We'll see what Sam can do. And speaking of Baker, his Tampa Bay Buccaneers 5.5-point favorites on the road against the Miami Dolphins, and Quinn Ewers 46.5 is the number. Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma on this call. Jourdan, are the Buccaneers going to look better on offense?
Baker ball is not rolling, my friend.
No.
In fact, it is looking kind of sad and disappointing. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to me, it's hard to figure out what exactly the problem is. I think they have issues on defense, of course, but they just keep making their own mistakes. It is penalties. It is false starts. It's receivers running, and the quarterback and the receivers are on different pages. It's Baker pressing and trying to make throws that aren't necessarily there, pushing and maybe sailing a couple of throws. It is just not smooth the way that it looked the entirety of the season. The first part of the season, I mean. The entirety of the season, I think they would settle for consistency because they're not even putting things together in a way that makes sense to me because of all of the pieces that they do have on that offense, and they have big-time issues on defense.
Last week was so strange for them because I think Baker played his best game maybe in a couple months.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask him to do anything. Like, I was like, Baker's actually playing pretty well, and he was like 10 for 14 for 80 yards. But he wasn't making any mistakes, and it was almost like they had a couple short throws on 3rd and long, and I was like, ooh, they're putting the governor on Baker. That's a bad sign. The only thing I'd push back with the Buccaneers is I've kind of settled on like the one thing they did well was win crazy games in the fourth quarter, and now they're just losing crazy games. They've been straight mediocre all along, and if you look at all the efficiency numbers and stuff, they're very much like team number 16 to 20 in the NFL in everything. Like rushing, passing, defense, offense. They're just like a mediocre team. And the players, like they're good players. You look at them, but at this point, I'm kind of trusting that is who they are, which is why I do not like 5.5 points in this game. And it would not surprise me at all if the Dolphins just end their season here. But even then, they actually would need the Panthers to win to end their season. So they could lose this and still be alive. That would be so depressing.
Quinn Ewers had a terrible third quarter. Let's not sugarcoat that at all. The Dolphins overall had a terrible third quarter. 4 turnovers, including one on downs, and the Bengals scored every single time out of those possessions. I will say, the first half, Quinn Ewers looked like quality backup quarterback material. And I think where the Bucs are a little bit vulnerable is right in the middle of the field, and they're very good. Those rookie corners on the perimeter, and they've been playing well. And Jamel Dean is obviously awesome, but like he is not afraid to laser throw it on these little slants all day long. If his receivers win, he's getting them the ball. And I think our friend who was on the show, Cody Alexander, worked a lot with Quinn Ewers coming out, trying to read some of these older school pressures and defenses, where I think he's going to not be so frazzled by some of the stuff that Todd Bowles can bring, because he's been studying it even back when he was in college.
They are picking on Levante David and Servasi Dennis every week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Levante David's had a good career, but if you look at who's on the wrong side, a lot of these scores that they're giving up, it's him. I actually have more concerns with the Miami defense. I don't know. I have a lot of concerns in general in this game, but like we get into little streaks of the season. It's like, oh, the Dolphins defense is actually playing pretty well since this. Like the whole season matters more. And in the end, like they're 26th in EPA on defense. They're 22nd EPA per play. They're kind of getting run over the last couple of weeks, but I don't know what to think of this game other than I think it's a toss-up, despite Quinn Ewers.
Well, the score would indicate one thing, but clearly the Dolphins' defense was overmatched last week with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and most teams would find themselves in that situation with Burrow playing well. But the Dolphins have 56.7% of their receiving yards coming after the catch. And the way that folks have targeted Levante David and running side to side, major danger.
Well, that's what Mike McDaniel wants to do. He wants to get Quinn Ewers to just slant him to death on these yak plays, get him moving across the side, like you said, side to side, and just have him slant him to death.
In H-An,
potential huge H-An game
to the outside. It's less about vibes, but just more that, like, if the Bucs were gonna show us, where are the real Bucs? I feel like they would have by now. Oh. I've kind of like they actually could make the playoffs very easy. Like they could lose this game and make the play. They could find a way to win that game, but I don't know. Just we haven't seen it, and whatever Todd Bowles is doing isn't really working on defense either.
All right, Bucs. Try extra hard just for Gregg. The Philadelphia Eagles going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills, who are favored by 1.5. It is Fox Uno, Kevin Burkhardt, and Tom Brady. The Bills didn't do much. Josh Allen had an X-ray at halftime, narrowly squeezed out a win against the Cleveland Browns. Eagles playing much better. What do you think, Gregg?
I love this matchup. It's going to be one of the most watched games of the year because it's the only 425 game. It's basically opposite. Not like we're all just going to be watching this game in the window. And this is the good on good matchup. It is the very good Bills offense for all the problems that they have. Like it's by far the stronger side. It's a top 5 unit and it's a great offensive line against this Eagles defense where like the 4-man pass rush for the Eagles hasn't been amazing, I would say, the last handful of weeks. Like it hasn't been as dominant, but overall they're a dominant defense against a really good offensive line, and you're probably getting Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson back for this game if the reporting around the team is right. And so whatever issues that Josh Allen and this offense are having in terms of everything is so condensed. Talk about air yards per attempt. Like he is dead last or first, depending on how you want to say it, since I think week 12. and it's not even close. Like Aaron Rodgers is second to last, and Josh Allen is throwing for the fewest air yards per attempt. What have they done with our big, beautiful boy?
Actually, I'd like to throw the question back to you because I have theories, but why do you think they are so truncated down?
Because that's what's their best, way to win.
Yeah, it's maximizing the efficiency. Really. And listen, when I say that, it's not a compliment because we'd love to see them sail the ball down the field, but it is actually the highest probability play other than pressing the button that can win them games without having to press the button the entire time.
Wait, do we have Eric on a mic for this show? Because you had a take that I think is germane.
It's truncated because nobody can catch the damn ball. And
He's
James,
basically like wide
I
receivers
did say they
stink.
suck. I did say they suck. I toned it down. And James Cook is way better at everything than the wide receivers are at most
And
things.
the tight ends are better than the wide receivers too. And I'm almost not including Khalil Shakir in the wide receivers because he's on the inside. It's the boundary.
And the whole idea of dad strength, Khalil Shakir has been worse since he welcomed the baby into this world.
Stop.
It literally has. I've been there, new father stuff. He's tired, man. Something.
Yeah, Eric's done the research now. He's seen what this whole fatherhood thing
Kincaid,
can do,
I think it was
man.
Kincaid or Knox had a baby. It's evening out, but Shakir needs something, man. He needs to take a nap.
We're
before
in
his game.
maximum fan mode right now.
I love that.
It's like a Reddit board come to life.
But yeah, like let's be honest. We're gonna see that this week.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, let's dial up Tyrell Shavers on Quinyon Mitchell. Like, no, this is and we love the button. We celebrate the button. The button went in at halftime. Yeah, we'll go there. We'll do phrasing. It's 2025. Where Josh is getting X-rays at halftime.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, you know what's crazy? So
Give the man some help.
your colleague Joe Basalia had some numbers on the boundary receivers and who's been coming in and out. Remember when they brought in Brandon Cooks? That was fun. He has one catch this year. Gabe Davis, remember when he was in the mix? He was back to a healthy scratch. So was Keon Coleman last week. So if you add up all the names that have been out there, and that includes like Curtis Samuel at some point and Shavers you're talking about, if you add up all 8 boundary receivers that have played for them this year and turn them into one person, that one person would only be 7th in the NFL in receiving yards. That's what they've gotten from all their wide receivers combined. That's insane. George Pickens is like, see you later, 6 guys, 8 guys, whatever it is.
You know who should pay Alex Pierce?
Yeah, that would be good.
Honestly, at a certain point, you're doing yourself a disservice because I know like Keon hasn't necessarily done everything that you want to do. Let's not have Josh in this situation. Like you want to like be the firm truth teller and like, oh, we need Keon to perform this, that, and the other way. There's been multiple games where they've looked like absolutely nothing, and those games have something in common. As Keon's
Let's
not
flip
playing.
the sides before we finish with the minute and talk about Philadelphia's matchup against a Bills defense.
Yeah.
That has its shortcomings, but they're old guys have been making plays. Like Jordan Poyer, he said it. He's like, this season feels like a movie to me. And
the old dads are the dads that are like more like unks at this point. Are the ones holding it down.
They're making it.
If I'm following the thread correctly, Eric.
They're making it happen. And you wonder with Lane Johnson back, like, can you get a real running game going? Which Eagles offense?
Against the
Huge to
Bills,
have
yes.
him back.
I believe you.
Which Eagles offense do we see? I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense for both teams. It's going to be more effective to run. James Cook, by the way, leading the league in rushing.
This close to the new year, it is time for introspection, I think. And on this game, I think, which phase is just going to let me down the least? That's going to win the game, either the Bills defense or the Eagles offense. Whoever lets us down the least will win this game.
So negative.
That's the attitude I'm going into the
So
new
negative.
year with. Low expectations, baby.
I got high expectations.
I think this will be a great one. I'm a little surprised the Bills are favored in this game. But I still, like, if this was the Super Bowl, I would be surprised, certainly.
But also,
But I
also
think
not
it's on the
surprised at
table.
all.
Like, it's on the table in a way that, like, I'd be more surprised if I saw, like, the Texans or the Chargers
Hey.
in it, certainly.
Hey.
well, one team that Greg did not mention could potentially play in this upcoming Super Bowl. The New England Patriots,
I'd be more surprised to see them, yeah.
favored by
you
13
didn't
and
say
a
that.
half against the New York Jets, Jordan. The over-under is 42 and a half. Adam Amin and Gregg Rosenthal's great friend and colleague, Drew Brees, on the call.
Neither. Why are you even putting me there?
Because
I've been saying he's been getting better.
Yeah,
He's
you
been
coach him
getting
up,
better.
give him advice, and he has been getting better thanks to your efforts. Do the Jets get better against Gregg's Patriots, Jourdan?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this should be, this is the kind of game where if you're New England, you don't overlook it, obviously, but you do the thing that you need to do, which is be a good team that beats bad teams.
And that is what they've done. And they've done
All
it
year.
in different ways. And once you got towards the latter part of the year, actually even in the middle, when we thought the Panthers were a bad team in different games there where they were winning by a lot, they have to win these 2 games to win the division. It's a little confusing. If they were going to have lost the game, it was last week. They could have kind of dealt with the Ravens and win these 2 games to win, but because of division record, they cannot slip up here against the Jets and Dolphins. And there's even a scenario where the Bills could lose this week because it's a out-of-conference game. That's really not going to hurt them, and they could still win the division, the Bills, next week if the Patriots stub their toe and lose either of these games. Obviously, the Jets, it seems less likely. They are as close to tanking as any team could be because I think they're playing a quarterback in Brady Cook that just doesn't give them as good a chance to win as another quarterback who's active, and that's Stroud Taylor. So that's about as close to tanking as it gets. They have not shown a ton of life on offense.
On the Patriots side, couple injuries, like pretty significant ones to look out for. As we're recording this, right before we're recording this, Mike Vrabel said that Travion Henderson, who left the game, Kayshon Boutte, and
Jared Wilson.
Jared Wilson are all in the concussion protocol, which, obviously you're going to just keep an eye on that all week.
Morgan Moses, their right tackle, left that game, so they could be down like 3 offensive linemen. Will Campbell is not back. I think they're hoping he's back for the playoffs. They've really missed Robert Spillane at linebacker just because the big drop-off, but they might get Milton Williams back this week. It's interesting that if they would play him in this game, but maybe you don't give him a full complement of snaps. He is practicing. They sounded pretty optimistic about it, and it'd be great for Drake May to just go out there and put up a big number like he did last week. That was his first 300-yard game of the season. Put it up on a bad defense. There haven't been many times where they've actually asked him to do something like that.
And while we know it's a bad defense, perhaps a lot of scribes, Gregg, watching that game on Sunday Night Football, just noticed that he was just throwing for those numbers. 300 yards, an important game after Matt Stafford comes off a loss. We don't go negative on the conversation points.
Yeah.
But Drake May has pulled within 15 points of Matthew Stafford.
And when I say bad, I mean this defense is bad. That was a good performance against Baltimore.
How many points? I'm not saying this is going to happen, Gregg.
Yeah.
But how many points would we knock Drake May if he gives the Jets their first interception of the entire season, which they have not gotten yet?
I think we would knock him. I think that's fair. I have been noticing among the tape heads out there, it does seem a little more split than the Vegas odds would indicate. I think Drake May is going to get his share of first place votes if the voting was today, because there's just a great case to be made for both. But the one for him is watching how he navigates the pocket, and that kind of reminds you of like what he's overcoming. And that's a bad offensive line and not like the best looking group on paper of receivers, and that he's doing a lot on his own. So a big performance would help him.
One of my favorite things ever is when a quarterback who's good at that shows his work and like draws it out for the viewer. If you watch the sort of all 22 toward the quarterback angle of any of these pass protection snaps and any of these drops where he's navigating the pocket, he literally is drawing you a map of how he's navigating the pocket. It is so exaggerated in the best way where, to your point, you can exactly see he's showing his work. Matthew Stafford does the same thing. Just saying.
He is one of the best I've ever seen at how he does it. Burrow
does it really
entering the league was amazing. I think it's Brady's super duper power. It's what made him Brady. But to do it with kind of the extra athleticism that May has, special. He's got a chance.
Got a chance.
Conversation.
The conversation is happening right now. Just not a lot of conversation about the New York Jets. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about a banger of a Sunday night football game. A game so good, I think they flexed into it, right? Bears 49ers. They didn't flex, but they should have. This would have been the game they picked.
Oh.
Sometimes the right game. Oh, yeah, this rocks. Oh, Christmas rocking.
Wow.
Greg's not a fan of the Christmas.
No, I like it. It rocks. It's the Christmas
You believe
house band that we have
Live in studio.
locked up all year that we take out just for this moment. Sometimes a game like Bears 49ers,
Incarcerated.
it's a lot going on.
It's the real Christmas village.
If this game happened in like week 6, it would just be like, oh, okay, you know? Sometimes it's happening at the perfect time as these two teams are absolutely cresting and there is so much at stake. The Bears trying to win the NFC North. There's a possibility they will have already won it if the Packers lost on Saturday. But either way, the Bears are playing for essentially a playoff victory, which would be a 1 seed because they still very much have a chance at doing that. Going to Santa Clara to face a 49ers team that has snuck up on everyone, and they've put the Rams into 3rd place in the NFC West. The 49ers just have to win out just to get the 1 seed. They have a hard road to do it. They would have to beat the Bears and Seahawks, and these are the types of playoff previews that I'm talking about. And we talked Coach of the Year with Ollie Connolly. This is a Coach of the Year off. Because and we might have another one in Week 18 between Mike McDonald and the winner of that little round robin might just get Coach of the Year. Everything is on the table. Patrick, when you look at I don't know. When you look at like this game, what do you think is the best group in this game?
The best group is the Bears run game. The Bears run game against this 49ers front where they've had to deal with a lot. And I understand they really had Phillip Rivers and the Colts late in the game, going the other direction. But I think it's an opportunity for Ben Johnson and company, who will be my pick for Coach of the Year. Kyle's got so many vets. Like, I don't think Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, and all those guys, George Kittle, they come back, they get healthy. It's not like you got to reteach them football.
Yeah, but they all
Case Keenum erasure.
they all missed parts of the year, and they won games like either without him or with them playing hurt. And I do give a little credit for like the multi-year process. Maybe you shouldn't, but like that he identified the right people to have in that system anyways.
Oh, no, I'm just acknowledging the farcical nature of the voting for this award. That's essentially like, hey, you did the most with the least. But it's like, we got a couple guys going to Canton. I don't know that it's fair to say that.
Well, that's what I mean. It's why be the change. We talked about it, and you can pick any. We don't need to make this a Coach of the Year discussion.
Okay.
But it is a good one to keep an eye, because I think right now the 49ers passing attack and their offense in general might be even better. Like, their best is maybe better than the Bears' best. And considering both defenses could be weak spots, I know the Bears have created a lot more turnovers, that maybe that's good enough to win in a shootout.
When I'm thinking about the 49ers personnel on defense, the size of their personnel on defense, particularly in the 2nd and 3rd levels, the inexperience of their defense, particularly in the 2nd and 3rd levels, and their lack of size on the edges in some of those wider zone runs that we know and mid zone that Ben Johnson likes to run. And then I look at DeAndre Swift, who's at 993 yards, and Kyle Monangai, who's at 731 yards. And DeAndre Swift is running at a 47.1 success rate. And Kyle Monangai is running at a 46.5% success rate. The two-headed monster in Chicago, to me, is the dominating force in this game. And Bob Saleh has to dedicate every single trick he has in the book, other than magic beans that grow people larger, to go and take care of this run game, because it is a monster.
Swift heard that trash you were talking early in the
What?
season about him. Like the first month of the season, DeAndre Swift was taking some shots on this show.
Wow.
Oh, when
he has been.
when he wasn't running for
Yeah.
what he was blocked for.
It's
Well, that was Ben Johnson, and then Jourdan kind of clarifying and highlighting what Ben Johnson said.
You're welcome.
DeAndre Swift is like the streakiest running back ever. This is the best stretch of his career, though. He is awesome.
And Monangai is pushing him. I think there is something to be said for that. You see it sometimes when a veteran player like wanting to find that little extra lever, right? That again, and regain it. And it's hard to have it on all the time, right? At a certain point. And Kyle Monangai comes in and he is physical and he can be explosive, but he is running through people. It is both of these guys together are buoying the offensive line, which is in turn reflected in the way that they're blocking. They've really come together as a unit, and I do think this is the number one advantage of both sides of this game.
It's easier to lean on the lever when you don't have to be on the field all the time. And Kyle Monangai allows DeAndre Swift to get those breaks to be explosive, where we saw the 49ers being super explosive. And I know Brock loves to take chances. He doesn't get gunslinger credit because the arm's not as big, but I don't think Brock can make the type of, George down there somewhere. All right, Jourdan, go get that against Nashawn Wright and Brisker and the rest of this Bears secondary. I think they will get the ball a couple times.
And how about Pro Bowler Kevin Byard getting it done late in his career?
Still
They have 3 Pro Bowlers, and it was Drew Dahlman, first Pro Bowl, the center, and Joe Thuney. And then how about Kevin Byard in the back end? The thing I've really been impressed about Brock since he's come back, and he got that first game out of the way, really, is his decision-making. I don't think he's taking too many chances. I know there was a throw or two in the Indianapolis game, but he was right to trust the guys there, and it wasn't too much. He's playing really high-level football, and I think both of these quarterbacks are not going to face much of a pass rush. But Purdy, because of his experience and the players around him and his coach, to me, against a team with no pass rush, they could actually do what the Packers did a little bit, which is keep that Bears offense off the field. That first half really stands in my mind, and I know they blew one situation near the goal line, but they were averaging like 7 yards per play against the Packers, and they didn't have any points because the Packers were going on these long drives, and I do think the 49ers could do that, especially if they have Kittle. Kittle had an ankle sprain in that game. He said afterwards he does not think it's a high ankle sprain, so knowing him, he'll probably play through it, but you hope he's 100%.
I like that you said that, Greg, because this is an opportunity for the most with Juszczyk, Kittle potentially, McCaffrey on the field, the potential for the vintage Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, you got Matt LaFleur once, but you ain't getting me.
Ooh.
Suffocation ball game. Seen it before, could see it again.
And the Bears have one big advantage here. Well, first of all, they get a couple extra days rest. That's a nice one. Secondly, they've been in these fights, these games, game after game, week after week, and no slight to Phillip Rivers here. But the 49ers, I went and checked this. I was like, when was the last time they played a close game? It was like week 4 or 5. Every single game, whether they win or lose, and they did get beaten a couple times with Mac and with Brock. It hasn't been close. They haven't been in a close game since that Rams comeback in week 5. It's just kind of a weird thing that if it came down to the end, the Bears do have a little magic.
They do.
That tends to happen late in these games. And that magic is Caleb Williams just doing awesome stuff. I should have mentioned this is the Sunday Night Football game. I never let you introduce this game.
No, it's fine. I was excited.
But it's a 3-point favorite for the 49ers. I mean, if you're excited, I'm going to do it again.
What?
Let's go. The Rams are favored by 7.5 points in this game. They're going to the Falcons in Atlanta. Draft pick. It's all happening. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. I'm introducing it just to feel a little more alive in this holiday week. Jourdan, can you imagine any scenario where the Falcons keep this close and make the Rams sweat it out?
I mean, I've seen weird Rams games before. They lost to the Panthers this year. So, I mean, the Rams are, the vibe that I got talking to people in the building at the end of last week, angry as hell. And also, this is a draft pick game. Winning this helps them in the short and the long-term game. This is Matthew Stafford did not get a chance to be the one with the ball in his hands at the end of the game, which salts at him like you guys would not freaking believe. And this is also Sean McVay getting a little bit more sleep this week game against his buddy.
The baby is the reason for the line. I mean, they literally put up 581 yards.
We're on baby stat watch. This is Sean McVay against Raheem Morris. This is Chris Shula against Zach Robinson. The connections across the line of scrimmage for both of these coaching staffs. I respectfully say I give that edge to the Rams every single time, regardless. If you were going to say entering the season, you're just looking at these matchups, scheme over scheme, it's going to be McVay and the Rams.
Kind of sad because he can help, make this Falcons coaching staff, which is coaching for its jobs, look bad with a big time win.
Yeah.
And yet you're right. They are angry. They are going to be trying a little bit harder. Let's listen to Sean McVay. This is in an interview with our friend JB Long during the week.
And that's irregardless of whether we won or not. I could, point to a handful of plays that if we make them, but you know what? We didn't. We're not victims. We're not going to make excuses. That's not who we are. That's not how we're wired. You give Seattle credit, but make no mistake about it. This is going to strengthen us. And I know it.
Greg, you asked me.
He knows it.
You asked me at the end of our recap of the Thursday night game, which you could catch over on the NFL's stream and main channel. I know there were some concerns that we did not cover that game. We cover every game, guys. We cover every game.
I'm glad you brought this up. Just a little programming note. The live YouTube ones are now listed under the NFL's official handle, but ours as well. If you can go to the NFL Daily and scroll down, if you look at the collaborations, you'll see our Monday night recap, Colts and 49ers, and you will see the one now they are collaborating. So you can find just look at
So we've got new friends
to the
here.
bottom of the page.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry about us in advance, but we like you and we're happy you're here. You asked me during that recap, what do you think Sean McVay is going to be the angriest about? And I said, he's going to be so mad at special teams he won't even be able to see. Well, he fired his special teams coordinator, the first coordinator change that Sean McVay has ever made during the season. Chase Blackburn had been with the team for a couple of seasons, and someone named Ben Kadwika is taking over.
Ooh.
And they're going to get some help with an assistant coming in who was with the 49ers at one point, and but this is a massive change to make, but they've lost multiple games this season. Actually, all of their losses, special teams was a big contributor in those losses. Now there are other reasons why they lost, obviously, but I think that Sean McVay had just had enough at this point.
I think there's a lot of Rams fans that said, well, shouldn't you have thought about this in the offseason?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of
I
logical people that think that.
I think that's generally true because it's the defense against the dark arts position in the NFL. We see special teams coordinators go after wins, after losses. It's constant just being rotated in and out where it's really was it this week? The plan just went that wrong this week that led to this?
Also, it just seems like an organizational lack of emphasis.
1 minute.
The way he talks about some teams, some organizations emphasize special teams in the way that they construct their rosters. And even when you hear Sean McVay talk about it, it really stuck in my craw when they just decided to not compete on the kickoff last year. They're just we don't want to try. And just it's very anti-football.
I would say that the number one way to solve this problem is if Sean McVay himself spent more time on this problem.
That's what I'm saying. He helps everything. And ultimately, look, their offense is in an incredible place, and they're playing a defense with a lot of holes. And on the other side, they're playing against the Falcons offense that has been solid with Kirk Cousins, maybe even a little better. He's not making mistakes. It was mostly near the line of scrimmage last week and has big-time players. Kyle Pitts might get over 1,000 yards. And shout out to Bijan Robinson. Just wanted to recognize this. He is the first player and only the second player in NFL history, along with Marshall Faulk, if he can land the plane, to average 5 yards per carry and 10 yards per catch in a season with at least 200 rushes and 60 catches. He is over 2,000 yards on the season. He can make any good scheme look bad, and he's just been dialing up about 170 yards every single week. He is incredible.
Posting identical stats, Bijan Robinson.
Pay the man.
You okay?
Jourdan making sure everything's all right. Everything's not all right for the Arizona Cardinals. The defense has fallen off, Greg. The offense took its turn last week. They are 7-point dogs at the Cincinnati Bengals. The over-under is 53.5. Kevin Kugler and Moose Johnston on the call. How's this one go?
It goes with a lot of points scored by the Cincinnati Bengals. Having fun. You know what I took away from that game in Miami?
What was that?
Burrow? It's he's moving really well. Remember he had a foot injury earlier this year?
He's got the special shoe.
But he's always moved well, but he talked about that coming into this season, and I thought it showed up early in the season before he had the injury that I think he was looking even more athletic than he did earlier in his career, and he's always, obviously moved well in the pocket. But I just think like it's another level, kind of like we saw Lamar go up a level. I thought last year going into the year, it's incredible, and this Cardinals defense is just giving up like a 40 burger every week. It is tough.
The Cardinals just signed Josh Carty, the disgraced Rams kicker.
Why is he disgraced?
I-
That would mean he did something
He
bad.
didn't do anything bad.
The
That's
Cardi
not
party
disgrace.
was a fun time.
Okay.
I mean, if he was
Josh
a kicker for
Carty-
any other franchise, you wouldn't have called him disgraced.
Josh Carty is a very nice young man, and I think he's going to have a great career ahead of him. I watched him at Senior Bowl all the way. I watched probably every kick and every, warm-up kick of his entire career, and I think he's going to do just fine. However, when you're signed by the Cardinals late in the season, it does not look good for you in that moment of time with this Cardinals team. Also, Garrett Williams, unfortunately, it's an Achilles injury, and he's going to be on injured reserve to finish out the season, as will be Walter Nolan. So super, super disappointing season in so many ways for the Cardinals, but also two of their best players. Obviously, Walter Nolan really, really sparked when he was healthy. And Garrett Williams is one of the more underrated corners in the league. Really tough scene for Arizona for a lot of reasons, but more injury woes continue.
It stinks for the next coach if it's not Jonathan Gannon. I know Ian Rappaport thought, in his report, kind of summing up everything, that there might not be changes. This is on track to be the worst Arizona Cardinals team of all time, which is hard to believe. But in terms of the record, I think it's the 17th game gets it worse. But if they don't win another game, they are the worst team. They are, by the way, without Kyler Murray in the Jonathan Gannon era. It's hard to they've played 19 games without Kyler Murray in the Gannon era. Do you want to guess how many they have won out of those 19 games?
3.
2.
Oh, see, we were optimistic.
Oh, but see, that was the cause of the whole vibe positivity in the desert, right? It was all Kyler's fault.
Right.
And now finally, that bad guy Kyler Murray is gone, and the team can get back to being professional and losing all of these games. But they did have one positive note. Although Trey McBride's streak got snapped, he's going to stop at 16 games with 5 or more receptions. Elijah Higgins played pretty well, so there's somebody to load up with targets. And they're playing against the defense that's now fallen down to the second highest blitz rate behind the Minnesota Vikings, the Atlanta Falcons. And nobody's gotten blitzed more than Jacoby this year.
And shout out to all the fantasy owners who have been riding that steady, like 20 points a week from Jacoby. I mean, he's going to get it done for you. And this week it could be even a little extra. Also a little tankathon impact on this game. This is involving the teams that currently have the number 6 pick and the number 9 pick. So
Disgrace was
these
too strong. I should have used cast out. It's going to bother me.
There's a few.
It's going to bother me.
The McVay castaways.
The castaway.
The list grows.
Yeah. There's a full island of them at this point. That'd be a good show segment.
Adds a special teams coach this week.
Liam Cohen swam back.
One of those teams that's not the Bucs in the NFC South that is playing significantly better at this point in the season is the New Orleans Saints. Also, every team in the South other than the Bucs playing pretty well right now. The Saints favored by 2.5 on the road against Jourdan, the Tennessee Titans, who just thrashed the defending AFC champions, albeit without either one of their quarterbacks. Andrew Catalon, Charles Davis, and Jason McCourty on the call to the Titans, who famously didn't have a legitimate win earlier this year, according to our friend Gregg Rosenthal, get a back-to-back win against the Saints this week.
I think they have a shot, but guess what?
What's that?
I've been describing the Tennessee Titans in this way all year, I think. But you know what I think of the New Orleans Saints at this juncture, Patrick?
What's that?
Creditable.
Creditable.
A creditable
For
group.
sure.
They are impressing me. The New Orleans Saints every week seem to improve in some form or fashion in every phase. Credit to them. Creditable.
And it's all about the quarterback. Like if Tyler Shuck wasn't playing like this, it'd be nice that you're winning some games. You probably wouldn't have been winning these games if he wasn't playing like this, because he is the reason that they won a few. But let's say like last week against the Jets, they're winning 9-6 at halftime. He doesn't really look that good in the first half. His passes are a little all over the place. He might be playing through an injury, and then he balls out in the second half. And when he throws a pretty ball, and I think it's going to be important for him to get to the finish line here after all the injuries that he went through in college.
Mhm.
He has taken some big hits. We're going to talk about Jackson Dart, and like some of the big hits that these guys take are in the pocket. It's not like running or anything. It's true less so, I think, of Cam Ward, even though he's taken a lot of sacks. I think he avoids it better. He's coming off his best game of the year. But yeah, I think Chuck just keeping this excellent level of play going and getting to the finish line healthy, I think is going to be big. These are, the two best rookie quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah. And maybe an opportunity for somebody to stake that claim as the best rookie quarterback.
Ooh, conversation subplot.
yeah.
Wait, I do have something about this.
Oh.
This offensive rookie of the year chatter, the Saints fans, because they haven't had much to root for,
Right.
are really getting in on this. Like, Chuck should be offensive rookie of the year, this, that, and the other. He's actually bumped up pretty high in the odds for whatever that's worth. I think he's up to second or third, where he's like not really that far behind. I think he's second right now. I think that's crazy. I think to win Rookie of the Year, playing only 9 games, and that's assuming he plays the next 2, your performance would have to be so exceptional that then you get into that conversation and you win it. If you miss half the season, I'm not hearing it if there's other good candidates.
And also, more of those 9 games would need to be good. Albeit Tyler Shuck has played pretty good here once we got into the stretch run. Creditable, if you will. Those first few, not up there. Meanwhile, T-Mac has the Carolina Panthers contending for a playoff spot, and he's been their clear number 1.
If you averaged out a Tyler Shuck game and gave him 17 of those, I would listen. Like, maybe that is the Rookie of the Year. But I agree with your point. It's not too amazing. Speaking of rookie classes, while we go deep on this Titans-Saints game.
Let's do it.
Also important for Tankathon. I think Harbaugh, he'd be an interesting pick in Tennessee, by the way. They are only the second team in the Super Bowl era to have 3 rookies with at least 300 receiving yards. Alec Iomanner, of course, Chimere Dike, and then Gunnar Helm, who's been kind of frisky at tight end, and they all made some plays for Cam Ward last week. So if you could guess the other team, I would give you a lot. But
in this
I don't know if it would be good.
in the Super
podcast.
Bowl era.
I'll give you a big time hint. It was in the last 5 years.
3 receivers.
This, trivia. This is where they just
Wait, it's receiver?
play the 15 seconds later.
Yeah, 15.
It was the Packers a couple years ago.
Oh,
well, that
everybody
makes
eats.
sense.
It just
Yeah,
happened. The everybody eats Packers. I think the Titans win this game. Big upset pick on game debut.
Oh, wow. If only somebody picked the Titans to win against the Kansas City
Good
Chiefs
job by you.
last
Good
week.
job by you.
The antithesis of everybody eats. Folks are starving. It is the New York Giants on the road taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, who are favored by 1.5 because the Giants offense, it was going up against Flores' defense was Kafka-esque last week, where it was bizarre, uniquely horrible. Kevin Harlan and Trent Green there. The over-under is 41.5. What do we do with this, Greg?
We watch.
Do we?
We don't watch. We think about the professionalism of Kevin Harlan.
Oh.
What game was he on last week? Whatever
The best one because he was calling it.
Yeah, whatever it was, it didn't have any. It was the Titans Chiefs. Now that I remember, he approached that with all the energy and enthusiasm and great calls that he does every week. And they put him on this game. They're still higher up on the
big man with a lot of hair.
high up on the totem pole because these are 2 big markets. It actually, this is not the
Yeah.
bottom game, and this could very well decide the number 1 overall draft pick. This is 1 and 2 in Tankathon, the only 2 teams with only 2 wins this season. So it matters a lot. And the Raiders are coming in with some momentum after a good performance on both sides of the ball.
Oh, I'd like to imagine, if you will, some one-liners from Kevin Harlan that could be possible
Oh, okay.
during this game. Just off the dome, I'm thinking, and it's Pete Carroll getting the butt slap.
Yeah.
Or Max Crosby, a menace.
Like, we don't need no stinking tank for someone who's
Love
going
that.
to have a
Love
big
that.
performance here, where the Giants were in that game purely because, I don't know who it was, where this offensive line was J.J. McCarthy. They just leave Brian Burns on the end of the line, and McCarthy is not looking at him. Brian Burns clearly, like, there's nothing impeding him at all.
But it's a
from the
screen. It's a screen, and they explained that it was kind of unfortunate. It was a screen. It was more than unfortunate. That's not. They always leave like a free rusher on the side on a screen. You got to get rid of the ball. But he hurt his hand just 2 plays before, and it was confirmed by KOC and I know we're talking about a team that's not in this game, but it was interesting to me. And KOC and JJ confirmed it, and you can see it on tape. He hurts his hand 2 plays before, and he can't catch the snap in shotgun, and he tries to like get the ball with 2 hands, and he just can't like hold the ball, so he's like pumping it, and so he knew he was trying to just dirt it because that's what you got to do if the screen's not going to work, and the screen wasn't going to work. There was a defender in his way, and so he's like fumbling with the ball with this injured hand, and then just takes a brutal hit.
But that's what it takes.
Yes.
It takes that kind of calamity for the Giants to actually score football points.
Calamity.
And
Yeah.
So again, I don't know that this Raiders defense can simulate what the Vikings were able to do, but not a lot of cause for optimism for late season Jackson Dart and the Giants offense.
Dart sacked in the end zone. Calamity. I don't know. Ashton Genty had some moments.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Good for him.
And Drew Lock, he's doing the opposite of what I was talking about with Shuck. He is struggling to get to the finish line. He is not getting helped out. His entire left side and center of the offensive line was hurt last week. He's not getting protected. But if you look at him in press conferences and then watch him on the field, it has worn him down. He is like, the meme of like the president, Barack Obama 4 years into his term or whatever. That is like Jackson Dart in 1 year of New York. Like, he looks a little weathered right now.
And you feel that's the collective pressure of playing in the most important place
That's
in the
it.
world?
I think it's more playing for
The only important place.
an organization that fired the one guy that was actually helping you. And like sneakily, not that I'm like caping for Brian Dable, but they've been kind of lost on offense without Brian Dable. And like that was his guy, Brian Dable. And if you want to develop a quarterback, it hasn't worked because it was tough to watch. I know it was against Brian Flores, but he looked as lost as any quarterback all season in that game.
Are you saying that Jackson Dart's undergoing some sort of a physical metamorphosis?
There it is. You know who also wants to put some good tape out there?
Who's that?
Geno Smith. For all the teams out there. Probably a backup next year. Maybe a 1B in a certain scenario.
One in our hearts.
I'd love him to be a backup like on a good team. And then, if anything happens, so be it. But he's playing for a job and put out some good tape last week.
Sounded like a threat for whoever's starting ahead of Geno from Greg.
I don't want to see him on the Giants.
It would be a shame.
Don't bring him back. You lost your chance. They had 15 runs in that. That was the most preposterous game of the season. I know not many people watch it, but they had 15 runs in that game before they threw a pass. The Giants. Kind of incredible. That was it. This has been incredible.
They should have done 60.
There were a couple of pass plays where he just didn't get the pass off, but yes. We did it. We did it. We're not tired. We're feeling great.
We're okay.
Definitely
Everything is okay.
episode name.
Patrick wrapped up his fantasy live
Oh, yeah.
for the season. I know mixed emotions there, but the host with the most on a great program.
Does
So
it all.
Congrats to the fantasy live.
Yeah, great that I was able to do a TV show where I was able to be me with really cool people with an audience that gets us, and so a lot like this show. So I have an embarrassment of riches in the people in my proximity.
Secret weapon at NFL Network for a long time, Fantasy Live. We will take a little bit of a break, but in the feed, you will hear us a little later. Me, Cynthia Freeland, trying to keep the greatest streak in sports going.
It's huge.
11 or 12 straight weeks. I've lost count at this point. So that our picks will be up Friday. We're also going to recap the Christmas games. This is the last time you'll hear us. Merry Christmas, everyone. See you on the other side.